So I want to talk about some of my current reads and also the horrors of American politics right now. So I'm trying to read the history of the Bible again. I started this book like 3 years ago and I was in like a little bit of a hypomanic episode, and so I became a little bit of a Bible like scholar. Anyways, it was very informative and I have a lot of interest in the history of the Bible specifically, like not so much theology in that way, if that makes sense. Anyways, I'm reminded of the sermon that the bishop gave to Trump and JD Vance and all of the rest of them. This truly was so fucking infuriating to watch. Like JD Vance and his little fucking swarming face, and he's like just smirking and thinking it's the craziest thing in the world for like a Christian to actually display a true Christian message of having mercy for your neighbors. Also, if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, I guess Trump, JD Vance, the rest of them, they went to this church service and there was a bishop there who started talking about like, please have mercy on immigrant families. Like a lot of them are not criminals. Have mercy on your neighbor and LGBTQ people who fall across the political spectrum. And that was too crazy of a message for these people. It has pissed them off so badly, and that's funny to see, even though it's again horrifying what's happening. But I do like how pissed off they are. Like, what do you mean church is not political? The whole reason that Trump is even in office is because y'all got the vote of the fucking evangelicals. I'm in Texas. Things continue to be horrifying. Elon Musk, people being like, he's just like an autistic man. Like, he probably didn't know what he was doing. He knew damn well what he was doing. Like, am I living in a fucking alternate reality where we're not seeing the same thing? He openly supports supremacists and a fascist regime. So yeah, all of this to say is I am reading the history of the Bible again, or I'm gonna try to. On to other current reads that I'm doing. So this one is a middle grade book called The Whisperwicks, The Labyrinth of Lost and Found. I think it's going to be a series. It's been pretty good so far. It's about this 11-year-old named Benjamin Creek, and he believes in science and logic, but one day this like mysterious doll puppet is sent to him, and the doll transforms into like a bird, into a monkey, and all of this stuff, and it leads him into this impossible world of magic called Ravenwold. I don't know how it's pronounced, but that's where it leads him. And basically that place is a dangerous place. It's pretty much like a giant labyrinth. People get lost in there. It's like very disorienting. So I'm not that far into it. I guess I'm like close to halfway maybe. Look how beautiful. I finally got like a book light thing so I can read in my bed again at night. I've been mainly using my Kindle and Kobo because it's just easier to have that so I can lay on my side. I'm also reading Blindness. I think that's the name of it. This has been on my list for a really long time. I believe it came out in like 1996, and I think it's Portuguese, so I'm reading the translated version, of course. It's basically about this like epidemic of blindness that happens suddenly. And it's really difficult to get into initially because the writing is essentially like a stream of consciousness. So there's like very little punctuation. It's just kind of like ongoing stream of sentences, which I've adjusted to some, and I think it does kind of make sense because it adds to like the dread and anxiety, of this happening. So everything's just like rushed together. But yeah, I'm about like 15% through that. The other book I want to read, but I haven't really started yet, is Martyr. I know this was like really, really popular, I believe, last year, and I'm excited to read it. I know it's probably going to be pretty like heavy hitting, but I think the author is a poet potentially, so I imagine the writing is going to be really beautiful, and yeah, I'm excited to read this. And the cover is just so good. It's amazing. This video is all over the place, but the other book I read recently, not currently reading, it was Sherry Frankie's memoir, The House of My Mother. She's the daughter of Ruby Frankie, who was like a huge family vlogger. And so she's recounting her childhood with an abusive mother, Ruby. She goes into detail about like the indoctrination that happens with this leader named, I'm pretty sure most people know this story, but anyways, like she goes into the details of all of that and also talks about the harm of family vlogging and everything. It was really insightful. I didn't listen to the audiobook, but I read through the regular book pretty quickly. It's hard to rate a memoir, really, so mostly what I say is just like, yeah, it's insightful. So I'll probably also start reading some more nonfiction, maybe in like historical books, but at the same time, everything just feels really heavy right now with the political atmosphere or climate, and it's kind of difficult to read or put myself in that mindset right now because I've been just kind of like stuck in a loop of watching the news and everything, and it's just crazy. Like LA is on fire. Here in Texas, we just had a snowstorm. In Florida, it was snowing. I work for a college now, and I don't know like how this is gonna affect that. I had to leave the public education system because I couldn't take it anymore, like about just I'm just going on like a rant now or a tangent, but it's just horrible. Like the politics of like what we were supposed to do and stuff with like reporting trans students and queer students and everything. And it was not a good time. In terms of my like fictional reads that I want to read, Night Bitch, I think that came out recently as a series. So I'm kind of excited to read that because I'm going to watch the show, and that's been on my list for a while. There was another book that was kind of similar. I can't even remember the name. I didn't finish it. That was like one of the only books I DNF'd last year. I listened to the audiobook. I really, really did not like that book. I feel like it was kind of like a weird depiction of borderline personality disorder and stuff, and so I wasn't like a huge fan of it. So hopefully this won't be too much like that. So yeah, I think I've done enough ranting. I'm mostly just, I guess, anxious and going on a tirade. But if anyone else is watching events and you feel similarly, feel free to let me know. What do you think about all of this? Do you think Elon Musk knew what he was doing? Do you think Trump is a Christian? Do you think it's odd that he didn't put his hand on the Bible even though he's like a loving Christian man? I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. Anyways, goodbye.